welcome to News Now. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has forwarded 2 names to the Nigerian Senate for their confirmation as Supreme Court judges. The nominated judges are Sidi Bage, who hails from Nasarawa State, North Central Nigeria, and Paul Joro, who is from Taraba State, Northeast Nigeria. The 2 judges had been recommended for appointment as justices of the Supreme Court by the National Judicial Council. The President's letter, which was read out by the Senate President Bukola Saraki during plenary on Tuesday, comes 4 days after the Department of State Services arrested 7 judges. The judges were arrested in the early hours of Saturday but were released on self-recognition 3 days later. Meanwhile, lawmakers in the Nigerian House of Representatives have passed a motion to summon the Director General of the Department of State Services, Lawan Daura, to appear before them. The lawmakers also constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate the clampdown. The vote by the House came few minutes after the Nigerian Senate rejected a similar motion on the floor of the Senate. The motion raised by Joshua Lidani said it is important that the Senate investigate the matter. However, when the Senate President Bukola Saraki called for a voice vote, senators opposed and supported the motion in equal proportion. After a second voice vote, the Senate President ruled in favor of those who opposed the motion. The upper chamber, however, condemned the raids. The National Judicial Council on Tuesday held an emergency meeting to address the arrest of 7 judges by the Department of State Services, DSS. The meeting was held at the 3-arm zone of the presidential villa in Abuja. The arrest of these judges sparked outrage by members of the Nigerian Bar Association, with many other Nigerians condemning it. But quite a lot of people also praised the DSS for taking a bold step to wipe out corruption in the judiciary. On Monday, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mohammed, described the arrest of the judges as sad and regrettable. The CJN, while speaking at the valedictory service of a Supreme Court judge, assured Nigerians that the judiciary is investigating the issue. On its part, the presidency assured that the raid was not an attack on the judiciary but a clampdown on corrupt judges. The Nigerian Air Force says it has destroyed a Boko Haram terrorist camp located in Sambisa Forest, Borno State, Northeast Nigeria. The Air Force, in a statement signed by the Director of Public Relations Group Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa, said the attack was carried out last week after surveillance intelligence reports showed remnants of the terrorists in that location. It said the operation was carried out by troops of Operation Forest Storm, which was launched on October the 2nd. The force spokesperson also revealed that the new phase of the offensive air operation is aimed at further degrading the capabilities of the Boko Haram terrorists in the Sambisa forest. The Nigerian government has distributed 5,136 bags of rice and some other items to internally displaced persons in Yobe State. The items, which were delivered by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Khadija Abba, were received by the State Governor, Abubakar Aliyu, the State's Deputy Governor, Abubakar Aliyu, on behalf of the Governor Ibrahim Gaidam on Monday. Apart from the bags of rice, other items supplied include vegetable oil, soap, clothes, footwear, and mosquito coils, among several others. The items will actually be shared to some returning communities in Gujba, Damaturu, Gulani, Yunusari, Nguru, Gaidam, and Karasua local government areas of the state. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has sought the assistance of Germany in the fight against oil theft and pipeline vandalism. The president made this call on Monday during a meeting with the Foreign Minister of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, in Abuja. Buhari described the militancy in the Niger Delta region as an attempt by raging factions to colonize Nigeria economically. He called on Germany to help curb oil theft in Nigeria through the provision of equipment, training, and sharing of intelligence with the Nigerian Navy. The president also told the German foreign minister that Boko Haram had been defeated, while the complex situation of the Niger Delta will soon be resolved. Steinmeier, in his response, congratulated the president for his administration's victory over Boko Haram in the northeast, adding that his country is willing to help resolve the crisis in the Niger Delta. The ECOWAS Court of Justice sitting in Abuja has adjourned hearing to the suit filed against the federal government by the Movement Against Fulani Occupation, MAFO. The adjournment followed a motion filed by the federal government seeking an extension of time to allow it file all processes and a preliminary objection challenging the suit. The Mafo group had accused Fulani herdsmen of attacking its indigents in Benue State. The group said the failure of the government to protect its indigents caused the attacks and is seeking a 500 billion naira compensation for infringements on the fundamental human rights. The Nigerian House of Representatives has cleared the 3 lawmakers accused of sexual misconduct in the United States of America of any wrongdoing. The 3 Nigerian lawmakers, Samuel Ikon of PDP Akwa Ibom State, Mohammed Gololo, APC Bauchi, and Mark Bila, APC Benue, were alleged of sexual misconduct while on official assignment in Cleveland, the United States of America in April this year. The decision of the lower chamber to exonerate them was sequel to recommendations of the Joint Committee of Ethics and Privileges and Foreign Affairs, who had investigated the matter. The House had started a probe into the accusations after receiving a formal complaint from the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria. The 16th edition now, the Nigerian Army Sports Festival kicked off on Monday at the National Stadium, Abuja. About 1,760 athletes across 6 divisions of the Army will be competing in 19 sports. The game will run till October 17, 2016. According to the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, the Sports Festival is the beginning of victory celebration in the war against terror in Nigeria.
I'm glad that in spite of the operational commitment across the country, the Nigerian Army still deemed it necessary to organize this event. I have no doubt that this sports festival will endanger spirit decor in the service and also impact positively on the physical and mental alertness of our troops deployed in various operational areas in the northeast and other parts of the country. I'm quite optimistic that the series of events lined up this week will aptly drive the realization of the purpose of the festival. I'm also confident that a high level of agility, skill, and professionalism will be displayed by the participants to ensure keen contest throughout the competition. I urge you to demonstrate team spirit, healthy rivalry, and spirit of good sportsmanship as we strive for individual and team glory.
Physical fitness is an important element of performance and the pillar upon which the military profession is built. Physically fit soldiers exhibit longer endurance, work harder, and manage stress better. It is a realization of this that we emphasize on maximum participation in physical training and sporting activities by all officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army. It is expected that this year's sports festival will further enhance the standard of discipline among troops to amply drive the purpose of the event. Physical fitness and teamwork are important requirements in the attainment of my vision, which is to have a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional roles.
We'll take a short break here, and the news now will be right back.
The Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, WSCIJ, invites professional Nigerian journalists and team of journalists, full or part-time, with stories published between the 4th of October 2015 and the 3rd of October 2016 to submit entries for the 11th Wole Soyinka Award for Investigative Reporting. Award categories include print, radio, television, photo, online, and editorial cartoon. Submission deadline, Monday 24th October 2016 by 4 p.m. All entries to be submitted at the WSCIJ office, number 18A, Abiodun Shobanjo Street, off Latif Jakonde Road at Gidimbi, Ikeja, Lagos. For more information, please visit wscij.org or call 0908-251-5179. Investigative reporting is the vital force for the restoration of human dignity. One nation can.
Welcome back. The Naira on Tuesday appreciated against the dollar at the parallel market to 470 Naira from 473 on Monday. At the official interbank market, the Naira traded at 304 Naira 75 kobo from 306 Naira 71 kobo on Monday. Now, traders say the rise in the local currency can be attributed to the introduction of Travelex, a licensed forex dealer. American industrial firm General Electric says it will invest 2.2 billion naira in a concession to revamp and manage some of Nigeria's railways. According to a senior executive of General Electric, the railway concession project is an addition to the $150 million the firm is currently spending on capital expenditures in Nigeria. Nigeria has been looking for partners to overhaul its aging railway system, and the country has also signed 2 deals worth around $5 billion with China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation to modernize and build railways in the north and south of the country. Nigeria's housing deficit is estimated to be at least 17 million, and experts say to begin to bridge that gap, the country would need at least 100,000 housing units each year. The experts were speaking at the 5th Annual Real Estate Summit in Lagos. They called for the total overhaul of the country's land policy, saying that the government needs to promptly address the bottleneck and cumbersome legislation on land acquisition for real estate players. Correspondent Abiola Ismail has that story.
Millions of Nigerians are homeless, while many more lack comfortable homes of abode. No thanks to different administrations in the country that have done little or nothing about providing affordable housing units for the citizens.
Writing standard for the informal.
That is the reason for this gathering. Stakeholders in the real estate and property business have come to discuss issues affecting inadequate housing in Nigeria and what can be done to arrest the trend.
Charges from the banks.
Discussing on the theme, looking inward, filling the gaps, experts in the housing business said governments must review and rework policies that will ensure private investment in providing housing for the people.
Our overarching legislation for land in this country is the worst legislation that you can ever think of. The Land Use Act is crippling, is stifling. It does nothing for us. All it does is create problems for us. Until that thing is repealed, we won't make much progress with land in this country. State governments can raise money without giving governors consent. Governors should be regulators of how land is documented and titled. They can make money doing that. But governors' consent, it leads to politicization of lands, all kinds of things.
Mortgage today is a very low rate compared to the GDP. It's at just maybe 0.05 of the GDP. I'm not saying we want to go to the US 61% or UK and France more than 70. If we just compare us to South Africa, it's around 25 or 22. This is already nearly $400 billion of investment in real estate. This creates a tsunami. This is how we should be able to help the real estate sector.
There are good news from government on ongoing plans to invest massively in housing, which will benefit local businesses and provide thousands of jobs for artisans in the country.
One of the things that will affect the affordability is the standardization. The house in Sokoto, a bungalow in Sokoto State will be the same type of bungalow in River State or Ogun State or Lagos State. The same size of windows, the same size of doors, so that if we can encourage the local manufacturers to start producing instead of importing. The government wants to do away with this dollar problem we have now. So we want to really encourage the local manufacturers to do so many things for the input of the housing. That will really reduce the cost
This is a policy initiative, which means this is funded initially through the state as a starter. So the state would be the provider of the support, and this support would go directly to the individual. So that's the policy drive. And what support is it? It's the support of the differential between the desired single-digit rate and what the market rate is. The feeling is that as we develop the market, there will be a convergence. The existing market rates, because of the current environment, would gravitate towards that single digit, and so the support required would taper down going forward. But that is how policy has addressed this issue elsewhere where it's been successful.
This gathering believes as long as the populace are in tune with the government on provision of affordable housing units, housing deficit in the country will reduce by 80 million. Abiola Ismail, TV360, Lagos.
Oil prices fell on Tuesday from one-year highs touched the previous day following doubts over a planned production cut. International Brent crude oil futures were trading at $52.84 per barrel, while U.S. crude futures were at $51.09 a barrel. Now, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries is expected to agree on an output cut at its next meeting in November. A ruling party official and two others were killed in a bar in southern Burundi, an official said on Tuesday, as the toll from 18 months of political violence grows. The African country has been gripped by political strife and conflict since President Pierre Nkurunziza sought and won a third term in 2015, which opponents said violated the constitution and terms of a peace deal that ended civil war in 2005. At least 3 rebel groups have taken up arms against Nkurunziza and hundreds have been killed, including opposition figures and government officials. South Africa's Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan has received a summons to appear in court on charges of fraud. The charges were allegations of misconduct when he was in charge of the country's tax collection service a decade ago. The summons require him to appear in court November 2nd, which is after his budget policy statement due later this month. Gordhan has said the allegations are wholly unfounded and are politically motivated. To sports now, Super Eagles captain John Obi Mikel says he is confident that the team will qualify for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. The Eagles, who were placed in a tough qualifying group, started on a good note with a 2-1 victory over Zambia. Now, Mikel actually said the win actually left the Eagles on 3 points, 2 points ahead of their group rivals, Algeria and Cameroon, who played out a 1-1 draw in the other group game. Mikel, who had an impressive outing in Ndola, says the maturity in the Eagles camp gives the team an edge over their rivals. Their next game is at home to Algeria in November. Spanish giant Real Madrid says it would appeal an EU decision requiring the club to repay 18.4 million euros for an alleged illegal aid from a land deal. The European Commission is accusing the Real and Madrid City Council of illegal payment related to the sale of a plot of municipal land. According to an assessor hired by the Commission, the figures were overstated and thus amounted to illicit aid. The World Boxing Organization could strip Tyson Fury of his heavyweight world title unless he responds to a notice from Chairman Luis Batista Salas within 9 days. Fury has until October 17 to notify the WBO on why his title should not be vacated due to inactivity, breach of contract, and performance-enhancing drugs and stimulants. The British Boxing Board of Control will also meet to address Fury's cocaine admission and could strip him of his license to box. Quite a controversial guy, I must say. It's on that note we end news now for now. Thank you very much for watching. Continue to stay tuned to TV360.